What is the VA appeals process? How many different ways are there to appeal a claim? We're going to talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to talk about navigating your way through the VA disability claims appeals. Now, claims appeals is a broad subject. We're not talking about just the Board of Veterans Appeals. We're not talking about all of that. What we're talking about is 3 different ways that you can go and appeal any decision that the VA made by, a number of different methods, these 3 different methods, and we'll talk a little bit in detail about some of those things. We're going to talk about 10 points to consider when we're going through this. So, point number 1, you have to understand the process, right? The process is, if you familiarize yourself with the Appeals Modernization Act, yes, my notes are down there, of 2019, there's 3 primary lanes that it gives you. It gives you higher level review. Higher level review means no further evidence. I just want a senior rater or a raters manager to look at this and tell me if they got it right. If you are 100% certain that you fit the bill, you've got all the documentation, the whole 9 yards, and this rater is just out to get you, but they're not really out to get you, but some raters aren't that smart. And some raters are, they're human. They have a bad day. They're pissed off at the world. The next day they're great. They're giving away things. They're human. So you just got to find a way to get through that, right? But there's the higher level review. There's supplemental claims. That means I'm going to give you more evidence and I'm going to file a supplemental claim with all this new evidence to have you relook at my claim. So that's supplemental claims. And the third way is the Board of Veterans Appeals, right? And the Board of Veterans Appeals is an absolute last resort. And please consider it a last resort. I know that there are many attorneys out there that are focused on veterans disability that consider the BVA to be their last resort. And if they aren't pursuing that as a primary, you shouldn't either. You should be looking at those higher level reviews, supplemental claims, getting help writing better statements, getting help gathering information, etc. That is key. So, understanding the process, you got to understand the types of appeals. Understand the timelines, right? The timelines as a part of that process. Timelines are going to vary. I think you all know that, but if you get to the point where you're waiting for a higher level review, you're probably looking at 6 months, at least. At least that's what it is in Oklahoma, right? It's about 6 months or more. If you're just doing a supplemental claim, it depends on the rater's workload. You could get it in 3 months, you could get it in 5 months, you could get it in 6 months. Board of Veterans Appeals, they could back you up for a year or more easily. Very easily can back you up for a year or more. So understand the timeline. Just be aware that this is going to take time, right? Which that leads us to point number 2, which is patience is key to appeals processes. You have got to be patient. And I am not a patient person, and I'm in the middle of a couple appeals right now. And it drives me crazy, right? It just makes me a little bit nutty, quite honestly, waiting. I'm like, why can't they just make a freaking decision? And I forget that my piece of paper is not the only piece of paper on their desk. So patience is a very, very big thing. You have to have realistic expectations. You have to go in saying, I've given you absolutely everything I have to prove this claim. And then have a realistic expectation that they could come back either way, and it could take them a long time. So patience is key. Number 4, was that 3? Oh, preparation of evidence. Yeah, I pulled that one out too. So understand the process, prepare your evidence, which is all your documentation that I talked about. Get that, get that timeline, get all that together. Patience is absolutely key. Stay persistent. Check in on your appeal status at regular intervals, but do not let it run your daily life. Period. That is such a huge stress creator. It's a ball of stress waiting to happen. The fact that we can get in and see, what claims are still being worked on via the VA app on our phones, or the VA website, and we have it at our fingertips. I have been known in the past to go to that website every single day. And after about 3 weeks, I was like, why am I wasting my time? I'm going to find out eventually. So I knocked it back down to once a week. Then I knocked it back down to once every 2 weeks. Now it varies between once every 2 weeks and once a month that I actually go out and look. And that's just because I want to know if it progressed. And quite honestly, I think more of the reason that I go out there now is because I want to be able to tell you what I'm seeing and how long it's taking and give you advice like, don't freaking do this because it's not a good idea, right? So check in regularly. If your appeal takes too long, if you have a supplemental claim and it's been 9 months and you haven't heard anything, even if it's been 6 months, be your own advocate. Call the VA. Tell them, hey, I put this thing in 6 months ago. And I know other claims that have gone through. I know other veterans that have had claims that have gone through with the same area code as me, the same regional office, etc. That is something you should pursue, but I would wait at least 6 months before I do that because 6 months is not uncommon anymore, sadly. Number 5, seek assistance. Keep a VSO involved, right? They have a little bit more depth into their view in the VA systems. So they can get into your record, they can get into your C file, they can get into a lot of the back end statuses that are going on with the raters, etc. If you have a good VSO, I would visit with them once a month or so and just say, hey, I'm kind of wondering where we're at. And after the first 6 months is over, say, hey, do you think it's worth my time to call and raise hell, basically? If your claim is stuck and it is a supplemental or a higher level review, I'm not going to say this is valid for BVA, the Board of Veterans Appeals, but I will say for the supplementals and for the higher level reviews, if it's been a year, consider legal representation because they are sitting on it for some reason. And that could be an honest mistake. I'm not going to pass judgment on what these raters are doing. I know people who were raters. There's actually a really good guy that's on YouTube who used to be a VA rater. Really understands the system. He's retired from that now. But man, let me tell you, if it came down to it and it was a year after my higher level review was assigned or a year after my supplemental claim was entered, well, I would be back in line. I'd be calling up a lawyer going, what the heck do I do? I did this, I called a VSO, they weren't any help, nobody seems to want to help me, they just keep putting me off and I seem like this is too long. And if you get them working on your side and they give you advice on what to do, you can possibly make some more strides towards completion at that point. Number 6, know your rights. You have the right to appeal denials, right? You have the right to receive assistance from an accredited representative, a VSO, or a lawyer. Make sure you understand that these are your rights. If you get denied for something and then you put an appeal in, a supplemental claim, and then you get denied again, don't forget, you can still put another one in, right? Do not forget that you have rights in this process. Complete the required forms. I can't say enough about making sure you thoroughly and accurately complete all required forms. Supplemental claims, make sure you write that supplemental claim in there. Make sure you reference all your extra information, or extra evidence that you're providing. Put your personal statements in there. Do all the things that are going to potentially benefit you in the process. And make sure that you get all that in there. Make sure it's complete. And timeliness. Timeliness is a big deal with appeals. If you filed a claim in December, if you filed a claim in October of 2023, you can no longer claim a supplemental on that because it's been more than a year. I don't make the rules, but and I don't think that that's unreasonable either. You'll have to file a brand new claim or a some other type of way of getting at that claim itself. So make sure that you are filing things in a timely manner. If you get denied and you know that it's absolutely wrong and you should be approved, and hey, wait, I've got more evidence, I can throw that in there now. The day you get your denial, start working on your appeal. And if it takes you 4 to 5 months to get all that data and all that documentation put together, you're still 7 months ahead of the game. So do that. Attend your hearings, prepare for hearings. Unless you have legal representation, you will have to attend hearings. Now, most of these are tele meetings or television meetings or telephone meetings. Sorry, not television. Telephone meetings. Some of them, you can go in person. I'm not traveling to DC. I got nothing for those folks. I'm going to stay at my house. I'm going to do this as a phone conversation or a video call or something. When you attend your hearings, prepare for your hearings. Make sure that you have all your evidence, all your claims, all your paperwork, keep copies of everything, have it all laid out in front of you, and be ready to talk to each one. Just be prepared for that, right? Dress and demeanor is another thing that I like to emphasize. We're all grown-ups here. Don't wear a shirt that says blank the government, or F the Fed or whatever. That's just not smart, right? So use a little common sense, put on a collared shirt if you got one, put on, for the ladies, put on a nice sweater or a nice, blouse or whatever, and present yourself in a way that shows that you're not somebody who's just trying to gold dig at the bottom of the barrel. You are truly looking to make your case. That is a big deal. Number 9, stay organized. Again, I talked about it before. Make sure you have copies of all of your information. Keep it organized. Know when your claims are. Man, I have a little filing cabinet that's almost full based on all the stuff that I've done. And I've got, several file folders. I've got it split up by the disciplines that it is. Find an organization system that works for you. Keep all your documentation. Keep copies of everything you submit, because someday you may need it for an appeal hearing. Last and probably most important, quite honestly, mental health support during this process. The VA can drive you nuts by being as super speedy and efficient as we all know they are, and end my sarcasm right there. You can talk with other veterans, come out to these channels on YouTube and have conversations, start engaging in the comments, start asking questions in your local veterans areas, go over to your American Legions, VFWs, DAVs, etc. Find ways to connect with others and be able to tell your story, because quite honestly, the one thing that drives us mostly nuts is bottling it all up and not having anybody to tell that would understand a dang thing about what we're talking about, right? So please seek help, get support groups, get some mental health support. All right, those are my 10 things for navigating the appeals process. Hey, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. It gets the word out to more veterans. I appreciate each and every one of you. See ya.